For years, the world has adored Heughan and Caitriona Balfe as the ultimate, golden couple. They weren't a real couple, of course, not publicly, not officially, not in any way the studio ever confirmed. But the image was too perfect, too powerful, too financially valuable for the industry to resist. And so, the myth was born. A carefully crafted illusion that millions embraced as truth, unaware of the machinery spinning behind the scenes. The image began taking shape long before fans realized it. During the early seasons of Outlander, the chemistry between Sam and Caitriona was undeniable, authentic, electric, and impossible to replicate. PR teams saw this immediately. They saw the viral potential, the fan obsession, the way social media exploded every time the two stood next to each other on a red carpet. Suddenly, the idea of presenting them as the golden couple became less of a possibility and more of a strategy. A calculated decision that would define the next decade of their careers. A former PR coordinator revealed that the studio used a specific term internally: controlled proximity. Sam and Caitriona were encouraged, sometimes gently, sometimes firmly, to appear closer, warmer, more connected in public than they naturally were on certain days. Not to deceive, but to maintain the emotional flame that kept audiences glued to the screen. Fans believed they were seeing spontaneous affection. The reality was far more orchestrated. At events, interviews, photoshoots, every gesture mattered. But behind all the flawless red carpet images and viral fan edits, cracks quietly formed. A crew member who worked with them early on confessed that the golden couple label caused pressure neither actor expected. Some days they were perfectly in sync, laughing like longtime friends. Other days, they were exhausted, overwhelmed, and simply needed space. Yet the public never saw those moments, because cameras only captured curated perfection. And the studio made sure it stayed that way. It wasn't just PR demands, they were also burdened by expectations from fans. A marketing executive leaked that fan engagement numbers doubled whenever Sam and Caitriona were framed as inseparable. This meant more promotions, more photo sets, more interactions engineered by their handlers. People only saw the highlights, the executive admitted. Not the late nights, the frustration, the tension of having to be on all the time. The first major red flag emerged when a confidential document leaked online, outlining promotional guidelines for the cast during a critical season. Sam and Caitriona's names were highlighted with instructions. Maintain unified presence. Prioritize shared interviews. Reinforce golden couple synergy. The discovery shocked fans. Suddenly the flawless duo seemed less like a natural phenomenon and more like a carefully maintained brand. It didn't mean they disliked each other. But it did mean the world had only seen select pieces of the truth. Another insider revealed that there were moments of strain that never made it past the studio walls. Days when the emotional intensity of filming took a toll on both of them. Days when they withdrew into themselves, only to be nudged back into the spotlight for the sake of appearances. The insider noted, they cared about each other deeply, but the pressure to fulfill fan fantasies made things complicated. Even on set, the tension sometimes showed. During particularly emotional scenes, the expectations weighed heavily on their shoulders, especially when editors and directors leaned into moments that blurred the lines between performance and reality. They carried the weight of millions projecting love onto them, one crew member said. That can twist even the strongest friendships. The illusion wasn't entirely false, that's what made it powerful. Sam and Caitriona did share a bond, warm, protective, and built on years of trust. But the golden couple narrative exaggerated it, polished it, and displayed only the brightest parts. Fans saw the gold, the industry hid the shadows. And the shadows were deeper than anyone realized. A former PR agent summarized the truth in one chilling line. Fans see the beauty, they never see the sacrifice. As leaks continued to surface, revealing the orchestrated nature of the golden couple brand, one thing became clear: the world had only ever been given half the story. Because the other half, the hidden half, was messy, complicated, emotional, and impossible to package into a perfect PR fantasy. And according to insiders, that hidden half was where the real truth lived. As leaks continued flooding the internet, a clearer picture began forming, one that shattered the polished fantasy fans had believed for years. According to a senior crew member who had watched Sam and Caitriona navigate fame from the beginning, the pressure of maintaining the golden couple illusion eventually created emotional fractures none of them expected. They weren't pretending to care about each other, the crew member clarified. They were pretending that everything was easy. And that, more than anything, was the real lie. The truth was far more human. Their bond was real, but their boundaries were constantly tested. Every time they pulled back to protect themselves, the studio urged them to step closer. Every time they wanted space, fans demanded intimacy. Every time they tried to exist as individual actors, the world insisted on seeing them as a single unit. What started as friendship slowly became responsibility, an emotional weight neither asked for. One insider revealed that during a particular season, tensions between them quietly reached a breaking point. Not anger, not resentment, but exhaustion. After filming emotionally heavy scenes day after day, they were required to smile effortlessly for interviews, embrace on red carpets, and feed the fandom's expectations. They loved working together, the insider said, but the persona built around them began to suffocate their real connection. There were moments when the mask cracked. In one leaked audio clip, Sam could be heard saying, "I just want us to breathe," without cameras telling us how close to stand. Caitriona replied softly, "I know. I feel it too." The clip wasn't scandalous, it was heartbreaking. It revealed two people trying desperately to preserve something private in a world determined to put it on display. Another revelation came from an assistant who worked with them during press tours. According to her, Sam and Caitriona sometimes disagreed on how to handle the expectations placed on them. Sam believed leaning into the golden couple narrative helped protect the show. Caitriona, however, worried it blurred the line between authenticity and performance. These differences didn't create rifts, but they did create conversations the world never saw. Quiet discussions in hallways, long pauses in dressing rooms, moments where they looked at each other and wondered whether the price of fame was worth the emotional toll it demanded. Fans noticed subtle changes over the years. At times, Sam seemed more guarded. Caitriona appeared more careful. Their public affection shifted, still warm, still genuine, but with an invisible border that hadn't been there before. Some interpreted it as distance, others as maturity, but insiders knew the truth. They were learning how to protect themselves. The dark secret at the heart of the golden couple lie finally surfaced when a high-level marketing executive, now retired, spoke out anonymously. They admitted that the studio had once considered a drastic strategy during a difficult season, manufacturing a romance narrative to boost ratings. It was never executed, but the very suggestion left a scar on Sam and Caitriona. It made them realize, the executive said, that the world didn't just love their bond, it wanted to control it. From that point on, both actors began quietly reclaiming their boundaries. They fought, politely but firmly, against forced narratives. They demanded more autonomy during press tours. They redefined how and when they appeared together. This shift wasn't rebellion, it was self-preservation. But the most powerful revelation came from someone who had known them personally for years. They said the real reason the golden couple narrative had to be maintained wasn't marketing, wasn't PR strategy, and wasn't fan pressure. It was protection. Sam and Caitriona were scared, the source said, not of each other, not of the truth, but of what would happen if the world knew how complicated their connection really was. How deep, how emotional, how impossible to categorize. Labels were too small for what they shared. The studio preferred something simple, sellable. The truth wasn't simple, and it definitely wasn't sellable. As more insiders added their voices, one detail repeatedly surfaced. The strongest moments between Sam and Caitriona were always off-camera, quiet gestures, whispered jokes, shared exhaustion, unspoken understanding. These moments weren't part of the golden couple performance. They were the real relationship, beautiful, flawed, and private. And then came the final twist. According to a source exceptionally close to both actors, the reason the truth had never been revealed was because Sam and Caitriona had made a private pact years ago, long before the fame, long before the pressure, promising each other that whatever happened between them, whatever feelings evolved or faded or changed, their bond would never be used as currency for the world to consume. The golden couple image wasn't built on lies. It was built on protection. Not of a fake romance, but of a very real connection the world was never meant to define.